everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. And this, y'all know, sometimes I have to, review things that are not so easy to review. And one of these times is the When They See Us series. I think it's a series special. No, a limited series. It's a limited series. It's on Netflix. Ava DuVernay, is the director of it. She's a fantastic director. Okay, it's four parts of it, and I'm sorry. Did I say hello, hello, hello? This is Jay Lee's Corner. I'm Jay Lee. Thank you for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? I hope I said all of that. Because I just watched the first. I just watched part one, and when I first heard about that she was making something, I thought that she was making a movie. And when I went on Netflix to watch it, um, maybe Saturday night, I was like, oh, it's four parts. And it was real, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I know I'm not going to be, conscious enough to really watch it and take it all in and stuff. So I was like, I'm going to watch a little bit later. People were saying, oh, it's very, very hard to watch. I'm like, oh, do I want to watch it? But I watched part one today. Oh, I cried so much, okay? And I'm gonna try not to cry doing this because, I think for some people, or at least for me, real life stories, like real things that happen to real people, and we're telling someone's story, not a story of something we think may have happened. It's like, this is what happened to these people. Like, I feel like sometimes when people, like the story of Roots is about slavery in general. So it's sad, yes. But Kunta Kinte is not a real person to my knowledge. I don't think he is. What I'm saying is you have some movies and TV shows that are made about things that has happened in the world, and it's not necessarily an actual person's story. It's about things that happen to people that could have happened that way. It probably happened that way because that's kind of how things happen. So yes, that's sad as well. But the Central Park Five, when it happened in 1989, I was 7. I was 7 years old in 1989, and I've always remembered hearing the term the Central Park Five. I can honestly say I have never looked into who they were, what happened, or anything. Because again, when it happened, I was 7. And even though I've heard about it over the years here and there, I never really knew what happened. When I heard Abe was doing the special about it, I'm like, okay, I'll figure out what it's about. So, um, if you watching this, if you watch all the parts, do not put any spoilers or do not put like, oh, on part two, this and this happened. I want to be able to watch it myself, have my own feelings about the other part. So, try not to put, and I don't want to put spoilers because it's not a TV show, but I don't know everything that has happened. I don't know, more of the craziness. And I'm like, what could be more crazy than what I saw in part one? So try not to put that kind of stuff in here. But Central Park Five, well, at least when they see us, is about five teenage boys, 4 African American, one I believe was Hispanic or Latino, um, uh, who were wrongfully accused of raping a woman in Central Park back in '89. And this special, well, the series in general, is about what happened and how it got to that point, to that part. The five, I'm gonna say men because they men now, but they were kids. They were between the ages of 14 and 16 at that point in time back then. We have Kevin Richardson. So that's Kevin Richardson, when he was younger on one side, and of course, Kevin Richardson a little older on the other. We have Raymond Santiago, Raymond Santana, who again, back when he was younger, and then he was also older. We have Antron McCray, and of course, younger. So that's his mugshot from all of this back in '89. For Antron, I tried to. I really wanted to have each of their mugshots Just to show you how young they were when it happened, and then of course them now. But I couldn't find all the mug shots. We also have Yusuf Salam or Salim. I may be pronouncing the last name wrong, and that again is him. I don't know if that's him when he was older or was that the actor who played him. I'm sorry, that's the actor who played him now. I didn't realize that until just now, but that is him as a kid back then when it was happening. So I'm sorry I don't have the right picture. And then lastly, we have Corey Wise, and that was Corey when it happened, and then Corey now. So again, those are the five of them. And the part to me that it's just so like, how do you even get to the part of I'm gonna get this picture for y'all because I feel like I should not be the main point of this video. I just want to see if I can get this one main video, and then I can be minimal because I want y'all to see these kids, okay, these children. So we're gonna have them there, and we'll have me here. Well, no, that's too much going on, Lord Jesus. I'm gonna have to just make it smaller because I have all their other pictures that I don't really. I didn't want to take them off, but I guess I can. Just so there's not too much going on. Okay, so but I'm still gonna just do me here. But these, girl, get it together. I'm just all this about that. Y'all know I always feel some kind of way. So these are the five kids when they were arrested all those years ago, back in '89. Um, So again, those are the five. We also have one other person who I'm going to show y'all is Linda Fairstein. This is the bitch who made it her mission to get these five boys um, arrested, convicted. Okay, no, wait. This is her right here. Linda Fairstein. Remember this bitch's face, okay? This is this bitch. Yes, I called her a bitch. Because so that was her back then. Even her now, okay? Remember this hoe's face. She went on to write books and shit and be a whole white woman in America when she railroaded and completely sabotaged these children's lives back in '89. I don't know the bitch, but it's an Eve song. I don't even know you, but I hate you. All I know, bitch, is that you did something incredibly foul, incredibly foul, and I'm so happy that people are who watched the series has found her on social media. They have been boycotting her on social media. They have been, boycotting stores who have her books. Mute this bitch immediately, okay? Immediately, because the amount of just utter bullshit of what she put these kids through, it just makes you want to say, mute that bitch immediately. I'm going to go ahead and have them on this side, now have me on the other side. So, the episode 1, we see the kids all around the city and all these different kids who most of them don't even know each other. They're going to Central Park. It's a group of kids going to Central Park, for whatever reason. We see some of the kids was there and they were causing havoc. Okay, someone was beating up joggers, beating up bike riders, but these particular five boys were not doing that. And for the most part, when they saw what was happening, they all ran away. Okay, they all left. And we see as all the kids are running, not just these five, but all the other kids as well, because the police are now around. You see one by one how they scatter, go different places. You see the youngest of them, like, kind of gets, he goes over like a little cliff thing, 'cause they're running. The police officer, like, chase him, knock him down, tackle him, and then hits him in the face with his helmet. And if anybody know, back in the late '80s, early '90s, when cops had them helmets, them things was hard, okay? And he hit that boy in his face. Whole eye swole up. That part from that moment, I said, okay, get some tissue because you're gonna be crying. Because for me, I feel like my nephew 13. You know what I'm saying? My godson 18. You know what I'm saying? Carla's two sons, mother god kids are 18 and 16. So I know kids this age. So for me, I'm looking like this could happen to somebody I love. I could not imagine, this happening to my nephew or a cousin or a friend's son. My good friend Reba's son, 13, 14 years old. My good friend Flora's son. You know what I'm saying? I have friends who have children, who have boys, who have sons that are their age. And I'm like, the sheer disrespect they received pissed me off just to the highest point of festivity. So we see that's the beginning of it. How the kids are chased down, and a lot of the kids are like caught, and they take them down to the police station. So the parents have to come the following day, like to like truancy quarters or child, I don't know, whatever the thing when your kid ain't at home when they're supposed to be there. We then see Felicity Huffman at the park. She's playing because the Linda lady, you know what I'm saying, is the head of the sex crime unit, and Felicity scheming and scamming Hudson Huffman is playing her. I say, well, ain't that about a bitch, okay? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. She went from, we had to figure out what happened to the jogger. Because the woman who was raped was like beaten up really bad. She was raped, beaten up, dragged, and all these things. She's in the hospital. The lady they thought was going to die, she didn't die. She was in a coma for 12 days. When she came through, they say something. I read about her a little bit too, but this ain't really much about her. It ain't, okay? And I'm not trying to victim shame, victim blame, or say, oh, the victims don't matter. In this case, the victim don't matter because that one victim made these kids all victims. So my thing is, she's one victim, they the other five. Okay. But I read that she was in a coma for 12 days. She came out the coma. She had to do months and months and months and months and months of physical therapy. She still had, things to deal with even when she was better. They say it took her like 8, 9 months before she was able to go back to work. But because of her assault, it was really, 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 really bad. Okay, wish her the best. You know what I'm saying, all good things that because she didn't do anything to deserve what happened to her. But this ain't about her. This ain't about her. Anyway, for the most part, Felicity husband character, the Linda lady, from the moment she got the case, this is a big case. We need to rile up everybody who was in Central Park that night. And when she found out that they was these kids who were all brought in because they was in the park playing around, and she started talking to one. I think she was first talking to, who was she first talking to? I don't think, was it any of the boys? It wasn't Yusuf. It wasn't Antron. It wasn't Raymond. It wasn't Kevin. She was talking to one of them. Can't remember which one it was, but she was talking to him like, was you in the park? What y'all doing? Was y'all wilding? you know, and he said, I was just hanging out with so and so and so and so and so and so. But again, questioning children without their parents, because all these kids are too young to be questioned. And she told the other cops, these kids aren't, witnesses to this rape. They're suspects. So it went from that to her telling the cops, interrogate all of them, get them to turn on each other, get them to name names, get them to stitch on their friends. Then from there, it went to, okay, you need to go and canvass the area, go find all the kids who coulda, shoulda, woulda been there, like, go find all these things. And it made it seem like they wasn't even trying to find anything or anyone specific. We just need anybody who was in the area on that day. And that was her agenda. Anybody who was there on that day. We don't care if the facts match. We don't care if DNA match. We don't care if the kids' timeline don't match. We don't care if you ask all the kids where they were, and none of them were near the rape. We're gonna make it seem like they was, okay? We're gonna make it seem like the kids who live in New York City do not know, the park that well, okay? They lying, they making up stuff. I'm like, it made me cry. And when they had each kid and they were showing each kid get interrogated, when they showed was it Yusuf? When they showed Yusuf, I think it was Yusuf. When they saw Yusuf being interrogated and being beaten up and pushed around by the cops, I'm like, bitch. When they were talking to what's the youngest one's name? Kevin, who was 14 years old at the time. And Kevin didn't want to go. Kevin was the one who was hit in the head with a police helmet. And his whole face is swollen. And all he wanted to do was go home. You seen the police just talking to each kid like, if you admit what y'all did, you can go home. Can you say so and so did it? Well, say so and so did it. Say so and so did it. They had each kid kind of snitch on the other one, but they would say, so, weren't you in the park with Yusuf, Kevin? And he'll say, I get, yeah. They were telling the kids what coercing statements from children. None of the children's parents were there. Mm-mm. The one parent who was there, mama had to go home because she didn't feel good. We seen one other kid who dad was there, but dad had to go to work. We seen another kid who dad was down there with him, but the cop was like, "Do your job know that you was a convicted felon? Do your job know that you've been arrested before? If you don't want to lose your job, tell your son he need to just confess to whatever we're telling him to say, and then y'all can go home." So the daddy in there telling his son, whatever they whatever they say, just say, yeah, you did it. I'm looking like, what? And it just reminds you back in the late 80s, and you don't want to blame all the parents, but I feel like when that daddy said, I'm doing what I need to do to tell you what to say to get you home. And I'm like, on what world do you think telling your child to admit to rape of a white woman in New York City is gonna be the good thing to do? I'm like, man, look, as he's telling his son like, Dad, I didn't do it. I don't wanna confess to doing something I did not do. It was fucking heartbreaking. And the fucking cops who were interrogating them were fucking horrible. I don't know where they at now, but wherever they at now, I hope they fucking fall and bust their front teeth out. I mean, they were intimidating. They were coercing statements. They were yelling, fussing, pushing around. Had the kids handcuffed. Them kids was in that thing for like 18 hours. And then two of the kids who was when she told them go in the streets and round up the kids who we think maybe could be should be a suspect. That's where they got Corey Wise from. Corey Wise only went to the police station because he didn't want his friend to go along. He knew he should have went home, but he didn't. And when the cop said, "Hey, you want to come with your friend? It's not nice to leave your friends by yourself." And he said, "Well, I guess so because kids are stupid. Kids don't know nothing. Kids feel like I need to be with my friend. We're supposed to be together." So Corey Wise, who again they picked up in the streets, and also Yusuf Salam or Salim, I don't want to mispronounce his last name, were two kids who they picked up, and Yusuf's mom came down and like, where my son at? My son is only four. No, my son is only 15. He's too young for y'all to be interrogating him without a parent. Because then you had to be 16 or over to do that. And he told them, I'm 15 years old, but my ID says 16 because I changed it to make the girls think I was older. But he said, I'm really 15. They knew he was 15 years old, and they still took him down and taking the boy for hours until his mama came. And when his mama came and Linda's monkey ass said, you know what, unless you have your kid birth certificate, how do I know that he's not really 16? And she's like, girl, I will call the New York Times on your ass. If you are you interrogating my son without me being here? And that's the only reason she got in the room before. And when she walked in, the cops had him in there by themselves and was coercing him to sign away his Miranda rights, meaning to waive his rights to an attorney. And she said to Linda ass, Felicity Huffman ass, you had my child in this room for hours along with these men. You should be ashamed of yourself. And she took her son up out of there. The only reason them boys was, well, not the only reason. The reason them boys ended up all being brought back was because Corey who again was not ever. He was just sitting there sleep. And once all the other kids had to be let go, because again, none of their stories match up. They kept saying the stories don't match. None of it matches up. The time frame of when the jogger left the house to when she was raped is don't even match to when the kids was in the park. And they kept on saying, well, maybe we can say she got lost. Maybe the kids, lied. None of it matched. And they kept making up shit to make it match. Then telling the kids what to say. Telling the kids what to say. And having each kid think if you say these other kids did it and you just saw it, you didn't do it, but you was there. Would have the kids say, yeah, I saw so-and-so this to do this, that, and the third. And then they say, but what did you do? Because it's impossible for you to have been there and not did nothing. And they'll say something like, oh, well, I took my penis out, but I didn't do anything with it. Or I touched her boobies, but I didn't do anything with it. Or I ran over there, tried to help her, and she hit me in the face, and that's how my face got messed up. Showing them just belittle and berate and damage these kids' minds and have them in there for hours without no parent, without no lawyer. You had kids in there without no lawyer. When each kid was let go, and again, they had Corey Wise. At that point in time, Corey Wise was the oldest. He was 16. So he didn't have to have anyone there because he's 16 years old. And because all the other kids who they had on record, on recording, but none of them would be viable with none of the stories matched up. They kept stumbling. They kept nothing matched. And they said, okay, we got Corey. They fed Corey a story, took Corey in a room, beat Corey up, was beating Corey up, and then said, that's the bad cop. I'm the good cop. I'm on your side. If you say what I told you to say, you can go home. And then they have him go in there, and he said, well, yeah, me and so-and-so, me and Yusuf was there, and they telling him the name to say, and you can tell, because he keeps saying, yeah, we was at the wall, or at the river, at the deck, oh no, the reservoir. Like he would change, because he trying to remember what they told him to say. And again, they had each kid say something about the other kid, even though they didn't know each other. And when they have them all arrested, they put Corey, who was 16. So Corey was put in a holding cell for adults because he was considered an adult because he was 16. And the other four boys were put in a separate little cell. And when they all go in there, they all realize we've been talking about each other and we don't know each other. Mainly because one of them said, I saw you that night. I saw you that night, about whatever. And the one younger kid said, yeah, like, the cop hit me in the head or whatever. And the other one said, I saw that. He hit you in the head with his helmet. I'm sorry it happened to you. And then he say, what's your name? Or my name is Yusuf, or my name is Anton, or my name was, whatever. He then said, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I lied on you. Dang, what's your name, so-and-so? I lied. So they all say they lied on each other because the cops did it to them. The cops made them. It's horrible. And again, this was just part one. Part one was solely showing the interrogation of these children and how their rights were violated and how, we seen Niecy Nash come in a little bit who was looking for her son, and the press came in her face and she's like, all I know is my son is here. I don't want to be on camera. I don't know what's going on. I've heard about a rape, yes. And the news people all in her face. Well, what about the victim? What about the rape person? How do you about, bitch, my son in custody, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay? I don't know what you talking about. And Niecy Nash plays Corey's mom, who for the most part is the reason, and I don't like saying that, but he's the one who gave the statement given to him by the police. What the police told him to say is what he said on camera and what got the other four boys arrested, including himself. I can't imagine parts 2, 3, and 4. And I hope everyone. It's hard as this is to watch. From the moment that boy was hit in the face with that helmet, I was crying, like just watching the kids be interrogated, watching John Leguizamo who plays he played whose daddy was he? He was Raymond Santana's father. Because at first, Raymond was the one saying all the kids' names. you know, he was saying different names because the cops were saying different names. But, John Leguizamo plays his dad, and he like, I gotta go to work. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom said, like, my mom doesn't speak much English, but can she stay? Oh, yeah, should we have a translator? Sure. They got his son back there handcuffed and got him confessing to it. And when he come back, like, what's going on? Like, what my mom at? What's going on? And he see his son, like, well, yeah, Dad, it's okay. I did it. I just want to say I did it. Because they like, if you admit that you did something, you can go home. And even to the youngest one, Kevin, and his sister come down there, and the sister like, my brother didn't do it. What? Let me read what he wrote. And she looked at the page like, my brother didn't. He didn't even write this. Oh, we dictated it from what he told us. She was like, he didn't do this. And then Kevin said like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. The cops then say, well, no, She said, well, okay, I need you to write on at the bottom that he said that he did not do this. Like, add that part. Well, no, you need to sign this because if you sign this, he can go home. If you don't sign this, he can't go home. And Kevin, who's 14, who been there all day without no parent, without nobody, he's crying. He's crying to his fucking sister saying, please sign it. I want to go home. Please sign it so I can get out of here. Because he's just so desperate to leave. And the sister crying because she feels bad, but she's signing it, which is she was signing something to waive their rights to a fucking attorney. And the kid who's 14 is begging her to sign it. I would not have signed it. Brother, suck it up real quick. Let's get a lawyer. We have to at least get a court appointed attorney. But because he was just, I want to go home. I just want to go home. And so she signed it. Again, this was just part one. I can't imagine what part 2, 3, and 4 is. I like the way each actor played the characters. I like how the story is progressing. I know, it's probably part by part. It's like the interrogation, the trial, them in prison, and hopefully them getting out. Because I do know that month that they all were convicted. They all went into jail for between like 5 to 13 years, and they eventually got out. So I do know that much of it, but I have no details on how any of that happened. I can't wait to see how corrupt this shit was, and I'm pretty sure that will come in episode 2. I will review that one day this week. I can't guarantee it'll be today because I'm just taken aback by the sheer fuckery of these people who did all this to these young kids, these boys, these children, and anybody who has a child in their life or they know a child or whatever, you can't help but just be fucking outraged because it happened. It happened. And it's still happening today. There are still black kids black people in general, who are being crucified and sent to jail for shit they didn't do. And most of the time, because I feel like I can't wait to see part 2, because I'm wondering what kind of lawyer did they have that didn't help do shit. But I feel like if you have, poor black people in the 80s probably can't afford no good attorney. You know what I'm saying? And them fucking court appointed attorneys don't be caring. They want to be good with the prosecution. So we have to be better. We have to be better. We have to be more united. Like, I just don't want any of this to happen in my day and age. And when we hear about different things that's going on in the world, it's just like, damn, like, it's just team too much. It's just team too much. But again, part 1 was amazing, very heartfelt, very sad, and it's only part 1. Okay, so I hope y'all enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't a typical review because, sometimes I feel like the content of what you review should match your um, demeanor. And this isn't a funny thing. This isn't a jokey joke thing. This isn't a, shits and giggles. This was too serious for me to even, come at it how I usually am. But y'all know that's how I do when I do other reviews. So I'll be back with part 2. Have a great day, y'all. Peace.